So you just started down your content journey, whether that's you started a podcast, you started a YouTube channel, social media content, whatever it is, any type of organic content, and you're posting multiple times a day. Maybe you're posting your podcast once or twice a week or whatever it is, and you're thinking, how do I get this monetized? Well, I'm going to give you the number one way to monetize your content from day one. And this isn't like a facade. This isn't fake. This is actual realistic stuff that you can do to make sure that you're leveraging your content as marketing. Now, obviously, I'm going to be talking to people that if you're a business owner in some way, shape, or form, or maybe you're a marketing director that works for a business or whatever it is, the content you're putting out is directly for marketing for the business. That's who I'm talking to. So if you're a creator, if you're looking to, start creating content for a gaming channel and stuff like that, then this might not be relevant to you. Maybe a little bit, but we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is the mindset is what we have to get past, is the limiting beliefs of like, well, I got to have ads, I got to have sponsors on my show and that sort of thing, or I got to have affiliates. Like some of this stuff are things that you can't really establish early on in your content journey because you don't have a big enough audience and there's not going to be moving of the needle, right? So again, we're going back to the mindset of we're starting this kind of stuff. We're starting to post on social. We're starting to post on YouTube. We're starting to post our podcast specifically for marketing purposes and not to try to grow a YouTube channel or grow or podcast subscriber base or followers or whatever. Obviously, that's something that we want to achieve. However, it shouldn't be the pinnacle. So when it comes to monetization, I'm going to unveil this curtain very quickly and start to kind of knock out some of the things that you need to do to make sure that this works for you. So the way that you monetize from day one is with your own products and services. And that seems like it's like, well, duh, but here's the thing, almost anybody that I ever talk to when it comes to starting their content journey, that's always one of the first questions that comes out is, how do I get an ROI on this? How do I monetize it? And when I tell them that, they're like, yeah, you're right. And it's like one of those things that people know internally, but then we don't actually execute it when we're starting to put content out. So what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, for me, I own a marketing agency that produces and manages fully social media, YouTube, and podcasts for people in the real estate investing space, whether they're active investors, coaches, influencers, whatever it is. If I have a podcast, which I do, the REI Marketing Weekly, I should be promoting that on my podcast because I have people that are listening to my podcast that might potentially start a podcast on their own. So who's the first person they're going to be thinking about if they decide to do that? Probably me, because I'm in their face when they're listening to my show. So I actually have a mid-roll ad that's about 25 seconds, I believe, promoting my services as that mid-roll ad. So it's smack dab in the middle of my episode and it gets right back to the episode. So here's the thing. Some people are like, well, that's pitching, that's salesy and that sort of thing. And here's what I normally advise. My rule of thumb is I call it the 90-10 rule. So if you have 100% of content, whether that's a 60-minute podcast episode, 60-second social media video, or whatever it is, let's say you have 100% of that. 90% of that piece of content should be value, adding value in some way, shape, or form, information, education, entertainment, whatever it is. 10% of it can be, and I say the word can because it's permission, to be a call to action for you specifically and your services, your product. Here's the thing is we got to have a fine line to this. Obviously, we can't be pitching and selling the entire time, but we've earned enough. If we give 90% of the content back to the audience in value in some way, shape, or form, then we've earned the right at that point to ask. We've earned the right to ask for something in return, whether that is follow me, subscribe, send me a direct message, go check this out, go listen to my podcast, whatever it is, we've earned the right to do that. And you need to be okay with that, especially, again, if mindset-wise, we're leveraging this type of content for marketing. If it's not for marketing, then we don't do that. But if it is, which it should be, then that's what we're doing. So at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you, send me a direct message if you have any questions about content and you want to chat. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe, leave some comments below, whatever it is. I'm going to give you a couple different pieces of direction that you can interact with me, but that's my call to action. But the whole video during this time period, I'm only giving you value. I'm only dropping as much information about this specific topic as possible. So I've earned the right to be able to give that 10% of the call to action. So let's think about that mentally, because that is going to be the way that we put our foot in the door to be able to monetize our content overall. Now, obviously, you really need to have this thought out a little bit. So if you have funnels on the back end, if you have some sort of intake form or whatever it is, make sure that that's set up, because the last thing that you want is for a listener to be able to listen to your podcast or watch your social media video, and then you tell them, go do this if you're this person and you need this thing that I offer you and they can't get to it, that's the worst thing in the world, because you've actually captured them in your funnel, but they have nowhere to go. They've reached a dead-end street, so you're never going to see that lead come through the door because they're not going to actively try to look for you. You have to make it as easy as possible. So make sure that you do have that set up. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. It could be as simple as a Google form. It could be a very simple landing page on your website. It could be a direct message to your Instagram DMs. Whatever it is, set it up, make sure you keep up with it, and make sure it works. Test it, test it, test it. And of course, on the piggyback of that is make sure that the call to action is clear. Typically, there's 3 to 4 different things that should be included in a call to action. Number one is if you're this person, so you're talking to the person that you're going to be working with, and you need this is your need. I have this, so go get it here. So there's the 4 things in order to be able to implement a proper call to action. It's who the audience is, what their needs are, what you have to offer them, and how they can get it. If you can structurally create your call to action that way, and put this into ChatGPT and say like, hey, Josh said these are the 4 things, and here's what my service and product is. Can you give me a good call to action that I can script and specifically put in my social media content or my podcast? Just do that, and it'll be able to give you some things, and then you can say that on your videos. But we got to make sure that it's very clear, very precise, and like I said before this, it works seamlessly and they can actually get what you're telling them to go get. So truthfully, that's the most simple thing to do. It doesn't seem sexy. It doesn't seem like, oh, well, I can get a sponsor, like maybe they're a low-paying sponsor, whatever it is. But look, like you're not there yet. Let's have the assumption that you haven't even earned that stripe yet and you can actually move forward into that type of monetization. Maybe we think about like monetization on YouTube or whatever it is in AdSense. But right now, if you're starting, monetizing your content from your own business is the way to go and should be all the way through. Even people that are at the 1 million follower mark, they still monetize their content with their own products and services. So make sure you do that. The second way, which is a very quick and easy way, is affiliates. So obviously, if you have somebody that's in your industry, like for me, I might work with another service provider that services the exact same audience that I do. And I might have them on and say, you know, make sure if you need bookkeeping services, go to this person right here and use my link. That's an affiliate. I can actually, like if one person goes over there, purchases that service or that product, then I get a kickback on that, right? So that's one way that you can monetize as well. That works pretty well. Maybe on another video, we'll go deeper into that. Might even just get an expert on there because I have a good friend of mine that's really, really good with affiliates. So that's how you monetize from day one. Again, it's not sexy, but it's the way it should be done. Make sure you're pushing people back to your stuff. Make sure you're pushing people back to your product, back to your services, highlighting it. And the content, of course, should be centered around your own products and services. You really shouldn't be talking about things that you don't like have as a product because then it'd be a waste of time. So hopefully I helped you today and gave you a little bit of direction and clear path on how to actually get things moving from a monetization standpoint. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media, either Facebook or Instagram. Look for Josh Culler. I am verified. So send me a direct message. Let me know you came to my DMs from the YouTube video and you had some other questions. I'd be happy to help you out in any way that I can. Other than that, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you like this video. And thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya.